you say we cut the chit-chat? A-hole!
This year we're going to grab the bull by the balls and kick those punks off campus.
Well, looks like the cows have come home to roost.
Hello and welcome to the Entertainment.ie movie show. I'm David Shaughnessy, once again stepping in for Mike Sheridan. This week we're talking Blade Runner 2049 and The Mountain Between Us. If you want to win an Entertainment.ie goodie bag, just tell us what was the name of Harrison Ford's character in the Star Wars franchise. We'll jump right in. Blade Runner 2049.
That is like the easiest question in
I
the
know,
whole
but look,
world. Like that. You didn't even try, man. You didn't even try.
Do you want to come up with a question?
No, I don't. Not at all.
Blade Runner, hit me because I haven't seen it, so be kind.
Okay.
Ooh, okay, well, what do you know about it? Like,
I've seen the first one.
okay, Grant.
I know your man's monologue.
Sure.
Well, I don't know it, but I know of it.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
It is. It is very beautiful. Rutger Hauer.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So this is basically set 30 years after the original one. And see, this is it. Okay, right. This is a point that's just kind of off the top of it, right? When I wrote the review, I stated something about Ryan Gosling's character that I thought everyone knew. Then some people were saying, no, that's a spoiler. Now, I should say, if you watch the film, in the first 5 minutes, it is explained about Ryan Gosling's character and what he is. So if you don't want spoilers, don't, I guess, cover your ears.
Read the review? Or listen to us talk about it?
To us talk
Yeah.
about
So it's
it.
going to be spoiled for me now, is what you're saying.
I don't think it's a spoiler. I would not class it as a spoiler because it's covered in trailers. And like literally in the first 5 minutes of the film, it's made clear. And not only that as well, when you look at the trailers, it's obvious. So I'm going to say it now.
Okay, yes, so if you don't want to know anything about Blade Runner 2049, stop watching.
Stop watching.
Yes.
Okay, right.
Okay.
So Ryan Gosling's character is a replicant.
Yeah.
And he is...
I mean, that was obvious from I know the bit you're talking about. Like, in the trailer, he comes through a wall.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's like... And then he's still walking, but
Yeah.
he's clearly not human.
Yeah.
So, yeah. His character is a replicant, and he is like what Harrison Ford's character did. He goes around and kills replicants who live too long, because in the first one, they were meant to live 7 years?
4 years.
4
actually.
years, correct, yeah.
I watched it before.
Yeah, you're right, yeah, 4 years. And that's essentially his job. But what's happened is that replicants who live past their 4 years are starting to age and develop and have emotions. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much as I can say in terms of plot.
Really?
Yeah.
That's how vague. In terms, it's just like he goes looking for Harrison Ford.
He
there are
discovers
more
something. Yeah, he
replicants.
discovers
Okay.
something that has a profound impact on him and the world at large.
Okay.
And
That's
just to
kinda it,
even
yeah.
and just to even not to put too fine a point in it, right? I don't know if they did this at the premiere, but at the Irish press screening of it, the publicist from Sony read out a letter from Denis Villeneuve saying, "Hello, friends. I would really appreciate it if you did not mention anything about this story in your review." And like normally they do that. They're like, "Look, listen, there's a twist or there's a
If it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, you're not going to say
sure, whatever." Yeah,
he's dead.
Yeah, and they're like, look, we'd appreciate it if you didn't spoil the experience for everyone else.
Yeah.
But in this, they were like, please don't mention anything about the story. And we were like, how the and I said this in my review, like, I can't really review it
Without discussing plot points.
without discussing the plot point, because for me, the plot was my biggest problem with it. I mean, everything else was perfect, and I mean perfect. Like, it looked gorgeous. The performances were incredible. Harrison Ford, this is the best thing he's done in years.
Oh, okay.
The soundtrack is incredible. The design is incredible. But the story I felt was weak.
I kind of disagree about the story. I thought that the story was perfect in regard to... Now, I would recommend everyone to do this, because what I did was I watched Blade Runner over the weekend to kind of have it fresh in my mind. And going into Blade Runner 2049, for me, it was just so perfect in terms of where it went with story and characters and kind of continuing on and bringing the kind of moral and existential questions that the first movie asked to another level. So for me, I thought that was absolutely brilliant and so well done. Only Denis, I hope I've pronounced his name right, Denis Villeneuve could have pulled it off. And I thought that he made an absolutely spectacular film, and it's so beautiful to look at. And I mean, for its running time, like, it really doesn't even feel that long. Like, I could have watched it forever and ever.
Okay, because that's one of the things that people have just been looking at before and balking, is being like, oh my god, I can't believe
2 hours and 46
nearly
minutes.
3 hours long.
Yeah.
But the thing about the first Blade Runner is, if you go back and watch it, that film's not particularly fast moving either. It actually really does kind of take its time for you to kind of take in the scene, take in like what's going on. Yeah, Yeah, so I think that it was kind of continuing both the themes and the aesthetics of the original movie, and that's what I absolutely love about this film. It's so true to Ridley Scott's original image, but it kind of brings it to the next level as well. So I thought it was fantastic.
There's something to be said for kind of what the original would have done, and not respecting your audience, kind of being like, look, we're going to make this movie and you can either enjoy it or you can't, as opposed to being like, oh, we'll do everything fast and get to the action sequence, and we'll do everything fast and get to the romantic bit, and we do everything like that.
Yeah.
So it's a similar vein like that. It's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, like it's very like the first one as well. Like it really luxuriates. Like it really allows you to kind of be sucked in by the world and like really just really transportative. You know, that kind of, if that's a word. But you know what I mean. Like it just really takes you away to a different place. Like, and Dee is absolutely right. I mean, it absolutely complements the first one in every single way. Like it is very much works over the story. It absolutely builds and blends with it. The problem between where I would disagree with you on this is that I felt the first one was perfect all by itself. I don't think this film needed to exist at all.
I think it exists. Could it possibly exist as a standalone, or no? It depends on you seeing the first one.
It depends on you seeing the first one.
You can't go see it blind.
Well,
there's not much hand holding, is there?
Not really. No, I don't think so. But then again, like,
there's so much more emotional impact, the fact that the first one exists, particularly with regards to, and this isn't giving away any spoilers, it's not, but what happens to Harrison Ford's character, because, and his performance in this is really brilliant.
It's fucking incredible,
because he is carrying the weight of what has happened over the last 30 years on his shoulders, and he completely brings that in every movement and every like facial expression. As cynical as he seems to be in all his, like, especially in his interviews, like for this film, you wouldn't expect it, but he really, really does believe in this character of Deckard and completely brings him to life. No one else could have pulled off the performance like he does here. Yeah,
and that's the other part of it as well, is that, like, you know, no one else could have played that role, you know, that kind of way. Like, no one else could bring 30 years of experience to it and make it seem believable. Like, you can really see it. Like, he does look like he's got a fucking map of the world on his face. Like, it's really something. Like, and like,
but the story of Ryan Gosling's character as well is really interesting, and it's different to what Deckard goes through in the first movie. It's still kind of similar in terms of, you know, what these kind of characters, these kind of replicants, like, go through, but it's a different journey and a different ending, and I thought it was really, really well done.
Is it a bit of a departure for Ryan Gosling, or is it similar? Because for me, when I looked at it, I was like, this looks like it's going to be
like Drive.
Only God Forgives, and Drive, and that kind of stoic, silent.
Yes.
Kind of, it's not that much of a...
It's not that much of a stretch for him, no, I wouldn't say that. But I mean, I think there's just...
He's not tap dancing on the street with Emma Stone. But
sure, exactly, yeah. And he's not, like, you know, doing any of the bikes and whatever. Yeah, like in Place Beyond the Pines. But no, it is true, yes. This is a character that he has played before. But he does it very, very well.
Really well.
Do you know that kind of way? Like, I don't... Like, the only other person I can think of in cinematic history that's able to kind of say so much by saying nothing is, like, Paul Newman. You know, that kind of way. Like, I really do think, like, he has a lot of lines between him and Paul Newman, and the fact that, like, you know, they're very, very good looking, but there's a lot going on behind the eyes that's really very unsaid. Like, and, like, Harrison Ford to a certain degree as well. Like, Harrison Ford, like, was quite, like, kind of stoic and clipped in his performance. But it's, you know, like, it's a really, really good film. It is a really, really good film. The only reason why I didn't give this 5 stars was because I honestly believe that the first one was perfect and it did not need a sequel. But Dee is absolutely right in what she's saying. It is a brilliant film. It absolutely complements the first one. I just feel that, like, the first one was so perfect. It was so revolutionary. It was so, like, an epoch. Like, it's literally before and after Blade Runner. I just don't think it needed a sequel. I really don't think it needed a sequel. But it is a perfect film.
But isn't it kind of nice as well that these kind of themes and ideas and stuff are being introduced to a new generation, like 30 years on? Because I mean, like, if you release Blade Runner today, I don't know if, like, young people would kind of get it.
Oh no,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't
like,
think
as I
so.
said,
you know,
people want to be spoon-fed Marvel, the Avengers.
Yeah, that's
just it.
Academy Awards, you think? Denis Villeneuve?
I'd love to see him get a nomination. And
is it worthy of it?
He'll get it. Oh yeah.
Like, I saw this online now, but Roger Deakins for cinematography.
Yeah,
for one.
I love that.
He has to get it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if he got like best director. Or
could it do like a Mad Max, get in there and all the technicals and
production design and everything. Definitely.
It'll clean up
costume
the
design.
technicals.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in summary,
it's amazing.
you need to see the first one.
Yeah. But like, who hasn't seen the first one?
Yeah.
Do you know, it's sort of,
But I would say rewatch the first one. Go in with it fresh in your mind because it does. For me, it really added to the experience.
yeah.
Great. Okay, so the mountain between us is Kate Winslet and Idris Elba on a mountain.
I
On a
know
mountain.
nothing about it.
They've crashed onto the mountain. That's all I know.
So Kate Winslet plays a photojournalist and Idris Elba plays a surgeon, and both of them need to get on this flight desperately. She is going to attend her own wedding, and he has to perform this life-saving surgery on a little child.
Oh god!
Of course, the stakes couldn't
I mean,
be
like,
higher.
this feels like an episode of Grey's Anatomy, but I'm being made watch it on a big screen.
It was a bit like that.
Really?
Anyway, especially what comes next, because they manage to get on a charter plane, but then the plane crashes in the mountain, and they are fighting for survival, to get out of here. And there's no civilization around, and it's all very desperate. They have a dog with them as well. So that's nice. The healthiest looking dog I've ever seen in that
I'm going to
situation.
ask straight up because this is something I need to know before I go see movies. Does the dog survive? Because I can't watch movies where dogs die.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm not
if you
kidding.
don't want to know, close your
Yeah, well, we've already spoiled Blade Runner, so
yeah, the dog's okay.
grand. Okay, that's fine. I just need to know. Otherwise, I'm like, nah, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
It's too much for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry,
Yeah.
continue.
And the
What kind of
dog
dog is it?
Did the dog do the press tour? Can we meet the dog?
Retriever, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. God,
Anyway,
I feel
sorry.
really bad. I don't know dogs very well. I only got like my first one this year, so. But yeah,
Back to the movie. So the plane crashes.
my parents kept having kids, and then they were like, "We can't bring a dog into the house." I have 4 younger siblings. Just to put that in context. Yeah. Anyway,
Right.
back to the
Plane.
movie on hand.
Plane, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like survival stories go, like it's fairly by the numbers, hits all the beats. There aren't too many surprises, but
Do they
because
eat
you
each
have
other? Do they eat each other? Is there
not mother.
Oh yeah. Well, I was going for a live, but yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but because it's Idris Elba and Kate Winslet and they're so likable and charming, you don't mind that so much. But what happens in the second half of the movie is they fall in love, and it tries to be like some big romantic, The Notebook kind of epic, and it just doesn't work, you know, because they don't have any chemistry. They just don't, you know? Yeah.
Really?
I was almost wondering, is it partly because I was reading recently that Idris Elba has just started, well, while he was filming this movie, he started going out with like kind of his first serious girlfriend, so no longer a bachelor. Sorry, ladies. So I wonder if that might have had something to do with it.
Or is it the fact
know.
that they were like cold up a mountain and miserable while they
Yeah.
were shooting
Yeah.
it? Like,
But they are like, yeah, I don't know,
I
because
mean, Kate Winslet's a pro at being in like giant
Sure.
pools of
Yes.
water and freezing. We know that. So maybe Idris Elba just doesn't like the cold.
I don't know. It's just, you know what? They just didn't kind of click. They didn't have that kind of fiery romantic chemistry, and they definitely needed it to pull this off, particularly with what happens in the third act, and it gets so like kind of schmaltzy and cheesy, and it's all about their love and their struggle for one another, you know, and it
It's
just
just no, you can't buy into it.
no, I couldn't buy into it, and the ending was dreadful. It was one of the like, it was the cheesiest, lamest, one of the lamest
okay.
ending
Oh, you
I've seen
told
in
me about
recent
this,
cinema.
yeah.
I
Oh,
told
it
him
is
what
muck.
the closing
Yeah.
shots were,
Yeah,
and
it's
Okay.
muck. It is
Yeah.
muck.
Okay, well that's, I mean, a solid review there. Kate Winslet, I mean, to my mind, she hasn't done anything decent since Steve Jobs. I feel like is she just cashing in now? Is she just
She's coming back coming back. She's doing Avatar. She's going to be in Avatar 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So I don't know. I mean, like she was in like the Divergent series.
I know.
You know, and that was I was watching that the other day. Right, that series is so weird because like they've got really good actors
I
in
know
it.
Naomi Watts.
Yeah.
Naomi Watts, Jeff Daniels, Mickey Pfeiffer, Kate Winslet, and you're like, how poor are you that you need to do this? Like, because this is muck.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, so it's the case
Yeah.
of, you think it's a case of her cashing
Yeah,
in?
I mean, maybe she genuinely like read it and kind of liked it, because I mean, it's a nice idea because you do have these kind of very like average characters, but they're so like at odds with one another in terms of like he's kind of the proper British, you know, thinks through everything, wants to wait for help, and she's kind of the American go-to, reckless, wants to take action and all of that. So
Kate Winslet is English, isn't she?
Yes.
Yes,
yeah.
right, okay.
So like on paper, like maybe it looked like it was going to work better than it ended up working. Possibly,
Yeah.
particularly given it was a novel originally. So literally on paper, maybe it worked better.
Didn't know that. Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, I can see this working better as like as a novel.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough.
Yeah.
You know,
Or maybe it's a direct-to-TV movie.
Yeah, it's very mid 90s on Sky One that like you would watch over the course of 2 nights kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't strike me as like the kind of films that they make anymore.
Who do you think it's for, or do you think it's for anyone?
If you
Big
say you're
romantics.
Big romantics?
People
Okay.
who love like, you know, those big romantic movies, like you might like watch it and see a spark there that maybe I just didn't pick up on. But
You
I
were
think
going to say
they're
your
the only
mum,
ones.
weren't you? You were going to say your mum.
No. I was going to say
You've
like
said
big,
that like the last 2 shows. You've been like, oh, yeah, this is a film for your mum.
yeah, but that's because I was talking about like Home Again and
Yeah. What was the other one?
one other one I can't remember now.
Piece of shit. whatever it was.
Like I feel like as a teenager I used to watch like romantic comedies and like really lame ones. Like I know I mentioned Made in Manhattan to you, which is a dreadful movie, I'll willingly admit now. And I feel like maybe I've gotten a bit cynical over the years.
Maybe.
And I was watching a movie like
The
this and I
Office.
was like, no.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that. We just do it to each other.
It's toxic.
You're in this horrible toxic sandwich here. We're just going to ruin everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks guys.
Anyway, that's it for this week. Next week we're talking Lego Ninjago,
Yep.
The Snowman.
Snowman, and The Ritual.
Yes.
The Ritual, yeah.
And hopefully Mike will be back to
Hopefully,
like
if
relieve
he's
me
not
of
dead.
this chair. And that's it. So enter the competition below, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.